I'm hardly the first person to notice this about the show Smallville, but there is enough gaslighting in this show to burn down every cornfield in Smallville. And I think it's worth just taking a moment to consider what the heck gaslighting specifically is, because it's a little bit different than lying. It's like lying adjacent, okay? But you could gaslight somebody without lying to them, and you can lie to somebody without gaslighting them. So if anyone else wants to weigh in on what I'm about to offer as my definition of gaslighting, and feel free. But lying is just you're stating something that is false with the intention of deceiving somebody else. Meaning, it's not a joke. Like I could say something false in the context of a joke that you know is a joke. I wouldn't call that a lie. So it's the statement of something that is false, a false statement with the intent of deceiving somebody else. You're simply saying something that is not true, and your intention is to deceive somebody else by stating it. That's lying. Okay. Gaslighting has more to do with you are trying to cause the other person to question their own reality because they are perceiving something you don't want them to perceive. They are seeing things around them that you don't want them to see, and you're trying to make them question their perception because you don't like their perception, and you're trying to make them question their perception one way or another. And I think that can include lying, but not necessarily include lying. So it's more like a crazy making thing, but your intention is, the intent is to deceive because you're trying to cause them to not perceive things that they are in fact actually in real life perceiving. You want them to perceive something else. Okay, so I'll give an example. I was talking to a coworker about this, and I was like, okay, so I could tell you that, let's say I got to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I get up early for work, but let's say I got to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's when I clocked in, but I actually clocked in at 7. Okay. Now, if I'm talking to a coworker who didn't come in until 9, that's a lie if I tell her I clocked in at 6, but not at 7, but it doesn't really have any impact on her at all. She's never going to know. It doesn't matter to her. She's not the manager. It doesn't matter when I showed up. So that's a lie, but I'm not causing her to question her reality. So I'm not gaslighting her. I just straight up lied to her. But if she was there early and she could have sworn she saw me come in at 7, and I tell her, no, I've been here since 6. And she's thinking, no, I thought I saw you come in at 7 o'clock. And I say, nope, it was at 6. That's when I clocked in. Well, now I'm lying and gaslighting her because she genuinely perceived something, me coming into work at 7. And I'm trying to get her to question her perception by insisting that, in fact, I got there at 6 and she did not see me come in. So that's different. And I'll say in the context of this show, there are some characters who get gaslit a lot more than others, okay? And one of the reasons has to do with a difference in the level of perception and intelligence of these characters, because gaslighting is something that is more likely to be leveled against somebody who is very perceptive and intelligent. Because if you are very stupid and or you are not perceptive, so you're either not perceiving things at all or you're not really thinking about the things you're perceiving, you don't really need to gaslight somebody like that, okay? You don't have to gaslight them because it's like their perception isn't a threat to you. But gaslighting becomes a weapon to be used against somebody who is very perceptive and they think about their perception. Guess which character fits that description? Lex Luthor. He's very perceptive. He notices all kinds of interesting details that other people aren't paying any attention to. You know how many times Clark Kent uses his power? It's ridiculous, actually. He uses his powers all the time. Like, there's one scene that's stuck in my head. It's somewhere, I don't remember where, somewhere in season 1, but he uses his super speed very recklessly, frankly, if he's really so concerned about hiding his powers. But there's one scene in particular, I remember he was in a hospital, and he just, like, runs into the hospital and just, like, shows up, like, runs almost, like, right in front of a nurse, and the nurse just looks, and, like, all of a sudden, he just appears out of nowhere right next to her, and she just kind of, like, shrugs and walks away. It's like, so Clark's clearly not worried. He doesn't need to gaslight her, right? Because she's just not, I don't know, she's already telling herself, it's whatever, maybe she self-gaslighted herself, or she just doesn't even care, or whatever, like, she's not paying much attention, or it doesn't matter, or whatever, but, like, Lex notices everything, like, right from the pilot episode, Lex is like, I could have sworn I hit you, man, I thought I hit you in the Porsche, right? And, like, not everybody, some people would just immediately think, I guess I didn't hit him because there he is, right? But Lex is like, I did hit you. I saw my car hit you. He notices things like that right away, and he's intelligent, and he thinks about these things. So guess what? They have to gaslight Lex if they want to hide the secret. It's not enough to just tell lies every so often or just hide what you're doing. Lex is going to figure it out. You have to add gaslighting to it. And I just think it's a particularly vicious attack, and it's one that people who are intelligent and perceptive, people who notice things and think about it, are going to be more familiar with than people who are less intelligent, less perceptive. By the way, that's not a jab. People are built differently. Saying that one person is smarter than another is no more of a jab than saying that somebody's stronger than another person. I'm just, hierarchy is everywhere, and that's just part of existence. It doesn't make somebody better or worse or more successful in life as a human being or not. That's totally besides the point. But in any case, those hierarchies do exist, and some people are smarter and more perceptive than other people, and those people are the ones who get gaslit because everybody knows they have to get them to question their perception. Their perception and their thoughts are too powerful. They're too threatening to somebody who's trying to hide things about themselves. So they have to level this attack at them. They have to try and get them to question their reality. And it's very vicious, and it's a like an intimate attack because you're trying to get into the other person's head and cause them to question themselves, to question their reality, to feel like they're going crazy, even to actually go crazy. You could actually go crazy if you're trusting people around you and they're gaslighting you like crazy, which is basically what happens in this show. So anyways, just a couple thoughts there to keep in mind as we watch the show, what gaslighting is and who the targets are primarily.